Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another BRAP. It is Wednesday night. We've got a great show in store for everyone tonight. We've got a lot to talk about. As Capono 5150 says, hit that like button, please. Hit that like button. Do me a quick favor and also retweet the link. I'm going to drop the link here in the live chat, so please do me a quick favor and retweet the link. Thank you so much. And if you're new to the show, subscribe, hit the bell notifications so you're alerted when we go live. So we're going to talk about some PlayStation news. Another PlayStation portable might be in the works. That's rumored right now. There's also a major Call of Duty update that addresses one of the complaints that I have when I play Call of Duty. And then, there's I didn't see a lot of discussion around this, but there was reporting coming out of GDC 2023, which took place, I think, 2 weeks ago or maybe a week ago. Some abuse allegations. Very unfortunate. What's been alleged happened. What's been alleged at GDC, and so GDC's offered an apology, but we'll talk about it too. I also want to talk about Vince McMahon. I want to know why Vince McMahon looks like Gomez Adams. Clearly, Vince has dyed his hair. Clearly, Vince has dyed his eyebrows. Vince probably has dyed his mustache. Vince's hair is not that dark. Capone says we got multiple BRAP podcasts this week. Yes, we did. Myself and Game Logic put out a video yesterday. Wanted to talk about just addressing this idea that somehow third-party content is anti-consumer now. It's just people, running with the, letter to Congress about Japan and Sony controlling 98% of the industry, and people conflating things related to that. So, and we'll address. We're going to address something as well, some comments from that video as well. But Nick says, I believe the mustache color is real. Everything else about Vince looks a bit sus. Yeah, look, Nick, he had gray hair last time we saw him. He's clearly dyed his hair. I don't think there isn't any doubt in my mind that Vince McMahon has dyed his hair. And man, Vince is 77. The guy's jacked. Jesus, that guy, Vince McMahon, is jacked. I don't talk about wrestling here, professional wrestling here a lot, or sports entertainment. I won't refer to professional wrestling as sports entertainment. It's professional wrestling. But I did catch this past weekend's WrestleMania. I don't know if anyone else in the live chat caught it, but I did catch WrestleMania, and I got to say, it was good. It was entertaining. I think, I don't want to spoil it. Is there anyone who is waiting? Is there anyone who's waiting to watch, I don't know, WrestleMania, who maybe isn't aware of the outcomes of the matches? I don't want to spoil anything. Okay, I'm going to assume probably not. All right, so and Tony says, I haven't cared since the 6th grade. Fair enough. So, the WrestleMania happened this past weekend. I thought it was good. It was enjoyable. And I don't know, it was okay. So I guess my biggest disappointment with WrestleMania was the outcome of the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns match. I guess from a booking perspective, Roman Reigns is probably the bigger name. He's the face of WWE, has been for the last 3 years, kind of on that Hulk Hogan type run as champion. People are going to tune in every pay-per-view to see if he loses, and I get that. He's at 900 and something days as WWE champion, but I don't know if, even if Cody if they decide to give him the belt, I wonder, is it going to be, even if they give Cody the belt, is the excitement going to be less than it would have if they would have given the belt at WrestleMania? Because I think a lot of us thought he was going to get the belt. I thought he was, he's going to get the belt. I mean, I understand that, and maybe because, Roman Reigns is the face of the WWE, there's, WWE's been acquired, or they're merging with I forget the company that owns UFC as well. They're merging together, but excuse me. But I just I was it a missed booking opportunity? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Triple H says that the story is continuing. They still have a story to tell. He said that in the press conference, so we'll see. I don't know, but I thought it was kind of a missed opportunity, in my opinion. I thought they should have given Cody Rhodes the belt. He had he had obviously that big push, and he had a lot of momentum coming into this. So again, I mean, if he wins it at some point, is it going to be as exciting as if he would have won it at WrestleMania? I don't think it would be. But the other curious thing is that apparently Vince McMahon rewrote much of the storyline for Raw on Monday. So it sounds like Vince is back, even though Vince, when he was asked during the interview by CNBC if he would still be involved in creative, he said, at a very kind of like high level, but not necessarily in the weeds like he used to be. And apparently he was in the weeds on Monday Night Raw. So, I don't understand the angle of Lesnar turning on Cody Rhodes. Why? I don't get that. Why would I don't know. Unless they're trying to bury Cody, I don't get that. I don't get that. So, but overall, like Nix, I don't disagree with you. It was an entertaining show. Shane McMahon came back, and God bless Shane McMahon, did a leapfrog and blew out his quad, which the McMahon seemed to do on television. His dad blew out a quad running to the ring, and Shane blew out his quad doing a leapfrog over The Miz, and lo and behold, Snoop stepped in. Snoop Dogg stepped in and gave The Miz a rather stiff people's elbow. You see The Miz put up his arm to kind of, brace, kind of block the impact, brace for the impact, and maybe block the elbow bit. But yeah, Snoop stepped in. But it was entertaining. I mean, I got to say, Logan Paul, what an athlete. I mean, some of the stuff he was doing, and he doesn't wrestle full time. That was just amazing. And that was actually a really good match with Seth Rollins. But then the question is, Nick's like, if Cody doesn't win, who else? Who else are they going to throw at Roman Reigns at this point? Like the one thing about Cody was that he was kind of the new guy. He'd come back, started AEW with the Young Bucks, had come back. The prodigal son has returned, and there was that story of him. Doing what his father couldn't do. There was that story there. So I thought it was, again, in my opinion, I thought it was a missed opportunity for WWE there. But again, I say that because now who else is a compelling opponent at the same level as Cody Rhodes and the WWE? I mean, like, Roman Reigns has faced everyone now at this point. It feels like. I mean, who else? Who else would be exciting for him to face? I don't know. I mean, they killed the opportunity with Sami Zayn. Kevin Owens has fought him before. I mean, who else? People thought maybe Jay White goes to WWE, but Jay White just debuted at AEW tonight. So it's official. Jay White, the hottest free agent in sports entertainment, in professional wrestling, is now officially with AEW, seemingly forming Bullet Club in AEW. Although he was kicked out of Bullet Club, I thought, in New Japan. Yeah. Fargo T, I don't know how much pay-per-view costs these days, man, in WrestleMania. Do you mean like how much it costs to go to WrestleMania? I know it's pretty expensive. Like those front row, those ringside seats could be like $4,000. It's pretty expensive. I'm going to try to go to WrestleMania in Philadelphia next year. It's in 2024. Philly's about 2 hours from me, so I'm going to try to make it up there. I don't know when tickets go on sale. Have they even released tickets? I don't think they have. Yeah, I'm not sure. All right. So that's I just wanted to make that comment about Vince McMahon looking like Gomez Adams. I don't understand why he looks like that. So hey, one thing I wanted to talk about real quick too. I am playing Resident Evil 4. The acting is atrocious. Newtonian, that is blasphemy, sir. It's blasphemy. The acting can be pretty bad sometimes. But there's some good acting though. There's some good acting there. And there was Supercard of Honor. I don't know if anybody watched that on this past Friday, but there was one of the wrestlers took a Canadian destroyer off a ladder onto two tables and broke his ankle pretty bad. It looked really bad when his boot turned completely around. Dante Martin, I think it was, who took it from one of the Lucha Bros. I forget which one did the Canadian destroyer, but yeah. So I am playing Resident Evil 4. I got to say, I'm really enjoying the Resident Evil 4 remake. It's pretty good. A lot of these stealth elements makes me think, as I'm crouching, kind of sneaking around, I'm like, oh man, to be Sam Fisher right now. Ubisoft, please give me a Splinter Cell game. Truth Serum says D-Batch literally talked yesterday about starting a wrestling channel. Wrestling people got to see together. I've actually thought about doing a wrestling podcast, believe it or not. I've thought about it. I don't know what I would call it though, but I've thought about it. Maybe Degeneration BRAP, reference to DX. I don't know. I have thought about that though, True Serum, about starting a wrestling podcast. Yeah, I think it would be cool. Because it's really cool that we have a second, which seems to be a viable option in professional wrestling and in AEW, All Elite Wrestling. So, although I was just watching MJF on here on Wednesday Dynamite, and he just did this whole cringy, I don't know, swing band, solo, and he just singing. It was cringe. Apparently Tony Khan's supposed to have a big announcement today, so who knows what that's going to be. We shall see, but looks like AEW's throwing Jungle Boy and who else? What's that guy's name? Something Guerrera. Sammy Guevara at looks like he's throwing. They're going to be going up after MJF's title belt. I don't know. It really doesn't seem that compelling to me. Yeah, Nick he says AEW's cringy for me. Yeah, I mean, there's certain things at AEW that really kind of that I really like, and there's some things I'm just like, ugh. Why? Why? All right, so I'm playing Resident Evil Remake 4, and I got to say, I am excited. I'm excited for to play more of this game. I'm chapter 3 right now, but again, as I'm playing as Leon, the main protagonist in the game, and I'm kind of crouching and trying to get through buildings and figure out ways to sneak up on enemies. It just gives me a lot of the Splinter Cell vibes. Makes you think I would like to see another Splinter Cell. I know that Ubisoft's apparently supposed to be working on a Splinter Cell remake or reboot or whatever it is, but it can't be here soon enough. I think it's time. I think it's time for Sam Fisher, and hopefully Michael Ironside can voice act Sam Fisher. Tony says I want to get it, but to finish the RE2 remake. Yeah, I mean, it may not be for you, but maybe wait for it to go on sale and pick it up. Yeah, RE2 is really good. The remake with RE2 is really good. Yeah, so many games right now, so many games to play. But anyhow, so I do want to get into the abuse allegations here that emerged in the wake of GDC 2023. GDC organizers say assault and drink spiking are outrageous and unacceptable, encourages people reporting to the police. So there were allegations of drink spiking and assault. So This was an article that was published March 27th, updated on March 28th. I'm reading this off GameIndustry.biz. And the organizers responded to GameIndustry.biz with the following statement. This was the March 28th statement. We're very upset to hear that some people, especially women, reported concerning experiences during the GDC week at off-site events, including assault and drink spiking. Jesus, drink spiking? Are you freaking kidding me? Like, how pathetic is that, by the way? Well, let me go spike someone's drink. Yeah, you're a winner if you're doing that. I'm being sarcastic. You're not a winner. You're a loser if you do that. This is outrageous and unacceptable, clearly. Everyone has a right to feel safe. We seriously condemn any such behavior and support the victims. We encourage reporting to the police and hope the perpetrators will be found. Absolutely report to the police. At the GDC event, we take everyone's safety very seriously. We do our best to provide a secure environment on site. We enforce a strict code of conduct and make sure that the GDC team is available to help participants contact venue security. Contact venue security or local law enforcement to provide escorts or to otherwise assist those experiencing unacceptable behavior to feel safe for the duration of the conference. So, so this is unfortunate. And I'm going to go to the original story from March 27th. So the allegations have emerged from multiple women who were subject to abuse, harassment during GDC and adjacent networking events. The claims have been shared via social media all over the weekend, with Stride PR Vice President Games Industry Gathering founder Guy Blomberg stating that he had been informed of multiple people that had drinks spiked during network events. Who spikes drinks? Seriously, like, who does that? Spiked drinks during network events on the evening of Thursday, March 23rd. Bloomberg acknowledged that this may have occurred during the karaoke event he co-hosted, and said his co-organizers are investigating who did this. He also says, "I'm so very sorry, folks, that had to go through such a horrifying experience. It's absolutely not their fault." This is what he posted on Twitter. He says, "I'm furious. This has not only happened, but that it's tends to happen so frequently that it's become almost commonplace. It's not effing okay or acceptable. We are doing everything we can to work the venue, look through security footage, and reach out to various people." So this is these allegations are This is, the spiking drinks, the harassment, wow. I just wanted to just talk about that particular story because it's something that kind of I didn't hear a lot of conversation around. Maybe I missed it, but the spike. I mean, this is just not good. All right, so let's see here. There is another. Oh, I want to go to Call of Duty here. Let's see here, because there was a big update here. By the way, this may very well be a quick BRAP show because I'm only the only one here. So most of my topics tonight were going to be news stories, and I was hoping to have dialogue with the panel, but I'm solo right now, so it's all good. But all right, so Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2 review anti-cheat updates for Season 3. Activision confirms several new cheat updates are coming to Season 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and Call of Duty Warzone 2. Activision reveals new details about several updates coming to the Ricochet anti-cheat system, and these anti-cheat updates will bolster protection against cheaters and third-party tools in Call of Duty. And one of them was the, let's see here. Let's see here. Which one is, give me a sec here. There was a, oh my God, there was a, there is a device that people are using to cheat. And that's what I'm trying to find right now. I had the article, and I thought I had the article from earlier tonight as I was kind of planning for the show, and now I can't find the piece here that I'm looking for. So Team Ricochet tested, developed third-party hardware device detection through Season 2, and the tool is finally ready for deployment in Season 3. Users that attempt to use supported devices that alter gameplay experience in unfair ways. So basically, like, people do these things where, let's see here. It's I think it's called Chronos. It's like you can actually buy it and hook it up to your controller. Like I think you can buy like a GameStop or something. Let me see something here real quick. Chronos, Sutonia. Yeah, that's right. It is Chronos. So apparently it's supposed to disable Chronos. But one of the things we've noticed playing Call of Duty, one of the complaints that we have, like me, Slow-Mo, and Game Logic talk about it a lot because we're on Call of Duty. We do run Call of Duty quite together quite a bit. One of the things that we noticed is that like people will do like this bunny hop jump. Hold on a sec here. Oh, hold on. I got to check something out here real quick. All right, sorry. Tony Khan was making a big announcement for AEW. Looks like AEW is going to have his first pay-per-view in the UK in London. So, okay. But yeah, so Prophet says tons of people run Chronos and COD ranked. Yeah, so that's what they're cracking down on. Chronos is that third party, thing. And I guess one of the things that people were doing is I don't know how to describe the mechanic. It's like they like run into a room and jump, and they're able to like shoot precisely where they're jumping in midair, or like jump. They do like a quick jump to prone, and it's really like fast. And I think that's like one of the mechanisms they program in Chronos or something. So it's good that they're cracking down on that. They've been able to detect that third party, tool. And so thank you. But I'm not sure that's going to necessarily critique all the wall hacking and aim bots and other things like that you find on PC. No, Slow-Mo, you won't ever hear me do that. So Prophets said pros do all that. Are you saying they do that movement, that jump, lay prone, or? Because I was under the impression that was part of something that was in Chronos because it's so fast. I mean, that's pretty fast. I've never done it. I've tried, but I am no pro like Call of Duty. But it ain't stretching the imagination. So, okay. So Prophet saying, that I gotta say, it's pretty damn impressive. Pros are cracked. Wait. I'm sorry. Are you saying that's Chronos doing it, or it's the actual skill set of the pros that are doing that? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. Yeah, it says your average rank player won't keep up the pro. It's a skills. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I don't play COD enough to do that. I mean, I'm 46. I have some good games. I have some bad games. Probably more good than bad. I think my overall KDR is like 0.9 in COD. But yeah, I don't play like that. I play casually. So let's see here. There's also another update. Let me see here. So it looks like shipment. Let's see here. I want to make sure I read this correctly. So Shipment 24/7 has actually been included in Modern Warfare's 24/7 has been included in Modern Warfare 2's playlist. So I know Shipment 24/7 was one of the maps people wanted, or one of the modes. So that's going to be there. That Shipment's insane. Insane. It's just super sweaty. Yeah, it's yeah. So it's it's a super sweaty match. So this version of Shipment's garbage. Let's see here. I'm trying to look up this Chronos thing because I could have sworn you could buy it like at GameStop or something. All right, I'll have to figure it out. All right, so I want to get to a rumor that's going around right now that Sony may be working on a new handheld gaming device, so this is kind of something that Jeff Grubb tweeted out. I'm traveling to Super Nintendo World, but I see the reports about a potential Vita 2, and I would definitely scope down those expectations. I've only heard about a cloud streaming handheld. So that is the rumor that's going around right now. And this was actually further reported by Insider Gaming. The new handheld will be used to play PS5 games remotely instead of being its own platform with games developed for it. So, yeah. So I don't. Okay. First of all, just to be transparent here, I am not in that market that wants a that wants to go buy. No, I haven't tried Ranked Profit. I haven't tried. I'll have to try it out. But look, I am not. Newtoni says Asia, Europe to be the target audience. That could be the case, Newtoni, because we know that those particular markets tend to do more gaming on mobile devices than we do here. And so I guess I would say I am not the demographic that part of the demographic that's going to be jumping at the opportunity to buy a handheld device. Look, I was excited for the Steam Deck. Never bought it because I know I'm not going to use it. BRAP, would a handheld hold PS5 games back? That's a great question, Capoto. Yeah, it could hold the design back, like the great Optimus Code had discussed. When you have to account for lesser hardware, that impacts design, the initial design phases of software development, and you can't scale design. You can scale graphics, everything else, but you don't scale design. And so certain features could be removed, as the developer is trying to develop across multiple platforms, giving hardware constraints. Again, it's not a I don't think it's the sky is falling type thing, but certainly there's some impact. But anyhow, yeah. Look, I in my opinion, I think if Sony's going to do it handheld, that is going to be able to play games. That's going to be able to play games that you develop for that platform. I don't actually. Let me walk that back here a little bit. Here's the thing: if it allows you to play PlayStation games via cloud, you can connect to your your PlayStation account, and then you can download, play the library of games that you own on your PlayStation 4 or PS5. And you can stream those games. I'm okay with that. But then again, why not make that feature available through an application on a cell phone? And I get a cell phone may not be, and maybe you do both. Maybe the handheld is for those people who want a more dedicated device. They don't want to, use their phone to game because they don't want to plug up, one of those controller peripherals that you can attach to your phone. But as something for remote play to PS5, like remote play, like in your house. I mean, because my understanding, and correct me again, I don't really use remote play. But I understand remote play is you're connecting through your laptop, computer, your phone, but you're doing so within your network. And then the other thing is, what's the potential price point of this thing going to be? See, and that's what I'm saying to Tony. Like something remote off of Wi-Fi anywhere. That's what I'm talking about. That's where I think that makes sense. An OLED device, remote play off of Wi-Fi anywhere. That's what I'm talking about. I think that makes sense. I look again. I don't care if they don't. Personally, in my opinion, if they're not developing games specifically for a handheld, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I don't think they, in my opinion, I look. I understand people who may want that. Me personally, my use case, I wouldn't want that. But if there was an opportunity to play, games at a, like what Tony is describing, that kind of makes sense to me. No, Chris Roman says remote play basically just turns your PS5 to a server. Remote play already uses Wi-Fi or 5Gs when not at home. Okay, that's good to know, man. Thank you. Because I don't use remote play. I just don't. So, but it's going to be interesting. I mean, I think Component said let's let PSVR 2 breathe. I don't disagree with you. I'd be surprised if this is something we see Sony announce this year. I could be wrong, but I'd be surprised considering they just, released the PSVR 2. They still have, software releases, or things that they have in development they need to talk about. But I could be wrong. I mean, they could come out and there's that rumor event in early March, May. I've heard middle May too as a possible window for the PlayStation event. But let me ask you about a live chat. Like, what would you all want from a PlayStation handheld device? Would you want to see it's something like the Steam Deck or something like the Vita? And Tony, I'm going back to what you said about the markets. Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, we tend to think when we tend to think of gaming, we tend to think of the dynamics here in the West, and necessarily, not. Logic says PSP, but not necessarily. Not necessarily, dynamics in Asia and in Japan, things like that. So, and maybe this device is maybe geared at those individuals. So, what's up, Game Logic?
Not much, man. How are you?
Good, man. I'm just cruising along here, man. I just actually messaged you. I said about to wrap up in like, I was gonna say about to wrap up here in like 12 minutes, 15 minutes. Because I got through all the stories. It was just me. So I was just flying through stuff, man. But no, I know this is a rumor, Logic, but I'm just interested in getting everyone's kind of thought, maybe opinions on what they think this might be or what they hope this might be, And it sounds, I guess, were you saying if they do release a device, you'd want something like more like the PSP or the Vita?
Yeah, I mean, look, as a consumer, me personally, what I always want is something that runs on hardware. But what I mentioned on Twitter earlier today is, there were a lot of people who, were cheerleaders and rah-rah and pom-pom, and still do today, for PlayStation's approach to the PlayStation 5, right? That the PlayStation 5 digital isn't different internals, that it's the same, that it's the same platform, just minus the optical drive. And the same group of people always talk about the Xbox Series S and say that the Xbox Series S is holding gaming back. So that, to me, seems inconsistent with the notion that now they are disappointed that PlayStation isn't going to release a separate platform, which requires dedicated software and doesn't run the same applications and would be a drain on their development resources to develop games for separately. So I completely understand the business decision to not do things that way. But to me, it's personally disappointing. I mean, heck, I've always wanted an Xbox handheld as well. Yeah, I mean, today, right now, this is a rumor that's analogous to, the shorter battery life of the DualSense Edge, and, the fact that hadn't been tested and the inaccuracies that went around about that. And I think the big thing to also consider is that, we're an older generation, and while this may not be a fit for us, it is tough for me to assess the market, that where there may be a desire for this, right, to turn around and kind of look at things from that perspective. A lot of people do a lot of playing games where they simply, displace the TV. I mean, the Xbox does this too, right? Just not, I mean, obviously you could do that from your phone, but I mean, internally to your own network, you could stream Xbox gameplay to a PC, right, and play it on a different display. So I don't know. It's kind of to me, it's a wait and see to hear something that's officially announced and isn't a rumor, and then it's to kind of try and assess the market, whether or not there's a desire for this. And Twitter's not the market, so it's going to be kind of tough to tell.
Well, Twitter's never really the market.
And
what's up, B Muddy?
What's going on, fellas?
Not much, man. What's good?
I think people who want this to be like a dedicated thing that has its own software and all of that, those people are crazy. Because I mean, we've went down this road before. We saw what happened with the PSP. We saw what happened with the Vita. It's just not something that I see Sony committing to as far as putting exclusive content on that device. So in my eyes, the only way that this works is that the system is powerful enough to play content that is on the PS4 and the PS5. Whether that's streaming or, direct. That's the only they have. Kind of look at the Steam Deck in the same way we look at the Nintendo Switch. All of their software has to go across all of their devices. When they start to segment, their game divisions and have different content for different devices, it's just a mess. So I think the only way that they should approach this is to have all of their content flow across all devices.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I was thinking too. Like being able to access your PlayStation library on this device, right? Like, and being able to access it via cloud, on the go.
Right.
Yeah.
And even if it isn't cloud though, like even if you if we look at the Steam Deck, I mean, you could download games to that hardware. So I mean, if they set up to where I mean, you can run the games natively, from the hardware, and that's fine too. Because not everyone is going to be able to use the device if they just use it as a streaming device. I mean, so many of the ISPs now, they're all data plan based. So a lot of people can't continuously play games online, or I mean, they have to do it for a certain amount of time before they have to re-up their data package. So to me, that's just a nail in the coffin, because you're shooting yourself in the foot when you limit the amount of consumers that can purchase the product, where it's beneficial to them.
Yeah, and if we think about it, I mean that's what you see in the mobile space, right? You take iOS or even Android, right? But if you look at the case of iOS, right, a game comes out, and in most cases, because it is actually it's a store requirement, you play a game on iOS, and it scales across the iPad and the phone, right?
Compatibility.
Play a game on Android, it plays on, I think it plays on Windows now as well. It plays on Windows, a Chromebook, an Android tablet, and a phone, right? It's the same game, it's the same delivery package, it's the same APK. You just code it once and run it anywhere, and the operating system enables that. And so while it's a technical challenge, right? But the fact of the matter is that, just like B-Money said, right? I mean, Valve figured out a way for it to be technically feasible, and Sony could too. The question is what is the cost of that device? I mean, particularly considering that they're sitting on an AMD chipset, right? Which is what the Steam Deck runs on. Now, absolutely some differences in their operating system and their abstraction layer and the way things are developed, but it is technically feasible. Just the question is, what would the cost of such a device be? And for an ecosystem where you already have a $550 PSVR headset, I just don't know if they could get the cost down to a point where it'd be something palatable for PlayStation users.
Yeah, that's the. I mean, I know I hate speculating on price because we don't know anything about the device, but I mean, is there a price point that you all would think makes sense if they do this, if this rumor is true?
I mean, I think it just depends on the capabilities. If it's just a Wi-Fi remote play device, then 200 has to be the maximum that it is. But if it's something more than that, what I mean, where you can go in the store, buy your games. If it's the same user experience that that it is on a in-home PlayStation device, then 300 is probably.
Prophet said $700 in the chat. What?
No way.
Oh my goodness.
Like 300 is probably the highest you could go. I mean, when you start getting in, 400, that's the same price as your home device. You know what I mean? As far as the digital console is concerned. So I don't think you can go that high as far as it being a mobile device, but it's Sony, so you never can tell.
Yeah, I feel like 300 would be the max it could be. The thing I'd have to give some more thought to is, at 300, I mean, just the weird thing is you're going to have some contrivances in there, right, to ensure that you don't cannibalize, right, your sales of the PS5 digital. And so you're going to kind of have to amplify, your product lineup. And so it's got to be, I don't know that it can be right up against the PS4. But by those contrivances, I mean, like, you're going to have to do things like you're going to have to not give it an ability to output video, right, to a display. Otherwise, you run the risk of starting to cannibalize sales. So from a product lineup perspective, I feel like, 300 has got to be the max, but I feel like you also have to have some technical contrivances in there to put some constraints to differentiate your product lineup enough.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. That's a great point, Logic. Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I said this earlier in the show. I don't even know when Sony might announce this. I don't think they'll announce something like it this year, but who knows? B Money, have you heard anything?
No, not on this.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to be interesting then. Do you think, B, that is something they might announce later this year, or is this something that's further off?
No, they won't announce this until next year. I would guess, just because the Pro will be announced next year. Um, we kind of looking into the second half of what the PlayStation rollout will be. Um, but I would assume early next year this is announced and you know they start rolling it out. They might even roll this out early next year, and then the Pro rolls out during the holiday season.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. I'll be honest with you, B. I don't even know if they announce a PS5 Pro. I don't even know if that's something I'd upgrade this gen. I did upgrade to a PS4 Pro last generation, but I don't know if this is something I would do this gen. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, if it's just ray tracing, then I'm cool with
the
PlayStation.
That's not enough for me to upgrade. Just ray tracing is not enough for me because I got a PC. But yeah, I mean, it's not. Yeah, I don't disagree with you there.
Back to that device, I will say if they could get the price down low enough, and I mean like in the sub $200 range, I can see where there may be a viable place for a product like that if the product is about extending your experience. If the product is about, I mean, because right, like a lot of the at-home use of Xbox Cloud Gaming and even Xbox Cloud Gaming and even Stadia when it was around are scenarios like, you only have one primary screen in the household, right? And your spouse or partner or whatever is using the primary screen, right? So you want to access, right? It's the same scenario that you had with the Wii U, right? That you want a game, but the primary display is occupied, or a thing that you kind of chuck in your bag, right, when you're going on travel. And you use it to extend your experience because you obviously can't take your PlayStation 5 with you. So for that type of scenario, if you come in low enough and you make it a thing that is just kind of a purchase that people can make without thinking about it, and steers way clear of somebody saying, well, why wouldn't I just use my phone for this? Well, you wouldn't use your phone because the controls suck and nobody likes using, the capacitive screen as your, handheld input, things like that, and you give it some advantages. There could be a small bit of scratch there, but I just don't know if they could get down to that price point.
Yeah, but why not? Yeah, go ahead.
What was that Logitech device that the Xbox was promoing maybe a month ago or 2 months ago?
Yeah, the G Cloud. I want to say that thing was like, was it $300 or $400?
I'm trying to look it up to see what the price. Oh, yeah, so it was $349, and it's on sale right now at $299. So,
and that could run. You could run Game Pass on that, right? Like you could could you get the Game Pass app on that or no?
Right. So that actually looks like it has a little bit more capability. So, because it has like Chrome on there, and it has NVIDIA's GeForce app on there. So, like, if you take a look at that, that's priced at $349, $299, around that range. If it's something that's specific to PlayStation, then you would assume that the price point would be lower than that. You know what I mean? Because you don't have to have all those other applications on the device.
Well, that's an Android device, running native. So I mean, it can play Android games, same as the Razer. I think is it the Razer Edge that they just came out with, which is like a near cousin and descendant of the old Razer phones, which I think I had the Razer phone too. And so, yeah, I mean, I agree. It would. I mean, I feel like for branding purposes, it can't just be another Android device. Because I mean, for me, I would definitely go, well, why the hell would I, buy that? But dedicated hardware that's Sony branded, that comes in well below that price point. There's a small argument that I feel like could be made for that entry point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, when if this rumor's true, and if it is, when Sony announces it, and when we get some more details, it's going to be interesting to see how this story develops. So, But look, gentlemen, like I said to B1, like I said to Game Logic, I ran through all the topics fast today because it was just me for a little bit, so I was just blowing through stuff. So that's all I got for tonight. I actually might just go back to play Resident Evil 4 now remake. Which are you playing that, B? I meant to ask you that if you're playing RE4 remake.
I haven't downloaded. I haven't started playing it yet though.
Oh, it's good. It's good.
The last few games I bought, I haven't started playing yet. Just been playing Battlefield, and I started playing like some other stuff in my backlog. I just don't have as much time to play, so I'm trying to just knock out all the games that don't take as much time to beat. So I've been looking on how long to beat, and just looking at my backlog, seeing what games I have that I can knock out, and just try to clear the backlog a little bit.
Yeah, I'm trying to get through RE4 remake to because we got Jedi Survivor coming out, which has been, EA's been marketing this game heavy. I mean, it's on TV right now. Like I've been seeing advertisements for that as of maybe a week, 2 weeks ago, and the game comes out in 2 more weeks? I think it's when's the release date on this? I gotta look this up now.
It's the end of the month. I want to say like the 28th or something like that.
Is it the end of the month? Let me see here. Jedi Survivor. Yeah, you're right. 28th. Yeah, so about 3 weeks. Yeah, so I'm trying to get through that, and I may give Redfall a run. I may try it out. B. It's on Game Pass. I have Game Pass. It's quote unquote free. I can just try it out, see if I like it. So I might try that out as well. But I'm trying to get through that game, at least from a single player perspective. Trying to get through RE Remake 4. So I'm definitely enjoying it though. It's been a lot of. It's been really good, really really good. Like I'm hooked. I'm hooked. So. But yeah, that's like I said, gentlemen. That's all I got for in terms of topics. If there's something else you guys want to talk about, if not, we can call it a night and go play some video games.
Well, you didn't ask me what I was playing, man.
Oh yes, what are you playing, Game Logic?
You always do this. Why am I the cast member that you just I don't really
because you don't play games, you play Twitter.
I have Resident Evil 4. I have my physical copy. I just haven't gotten around to opening it yet. I also have MLB The Show 23, which I need to start up and put some time into. But right now I'm playing Wolong on PS5 and Persona 3 Portable on Xbox via Game Pass. So I'm going to jump on Wolong and try and beat this boss. And if I can't get past this boss, I may be done. I may just shove this into my backlog and. What's that?
What boss? So is this the first boss, or what boss are you at all along?
This is the first boss. This is the first boss that does the two-phase thing where the attack patterns of the second one are completely different than the first. So I've looked up some things and read some strategies about him that. First of all, I didn't know that you could parry that underground rock attack that he throws at you. So that's going to be a big plus, and I think it's just a matter of I just have to suck it up and just try and parry. Oh, and the recommendation is also to use the pole arm, which I have, but I had been worried that the pole arm was going to be too slow, so I hadn't been trying to use the pole arm on him. I had just been trying to fight him with the short sword. So I'm gonna go back to that. Sometimes you hit those things and you just have to push back away from the table, and take your beatings and go get my confidence back up by clapping some cheeks on Halo Infinite and COD, and then come back to it. So I'm gonna try that tonight and see how we do.
Yeah, we got to play some Halo Infinite the other night. I got to go back and play Halo Infinite because, like I said, I was gonna play. It felt a little sluggish to me the other day. But no. I gotta. Wolong's another game I need to get to as well. It's in Game Pass and I have Game Pass, so I definitely need to download that. I just haven't got to it because I picked up because I bought Resident Evil 4 remake. So, and then Persona 4, not Persona 4. You're playing Persona 3, mobile, right?
Persona 3 Portable. Yeah.
Portable. I'm sorry, I don't know why I call it mobile. Portable. Okay. And so, have you played other Persona games? I meant to ask you that, Game Logic. Have you played the other ones?
I have not. It's this interesting thing that Game Pass does, as the best value in gaming. that it gives me access to all these titles that I probably wouldn't normally have played. So that's just a bit of a joke of me doing a fake advertisement and free marketing for
Yeah,
Xbox.
I was gonna say, okay, Aaron Greenberg.
Well,
we can start calling you Game Greenberg.
No, and actually, I mean, the sad thing is all of those things are true. It's just that I don't run around screaming them from the mountaintop, like some type of, like I said, like some type of volunteer member of the marketing and PR department for Xbox. But no, I've never touched a Persona game before, and I probably wouldn't, just because it's dressed in those JRPG trappings, and JRPGs have just kind of been one of my nopes. I've tried to onboard with them before, and I just never tend to stick with them. And that's a me problem. That's not a JRPG genre problem, subgenre problem. It's just it's just one of those content pieces that have never been in my wheelhouse. But I wanted to dedicate myself to give some time to it, and it's actually, I mean, I was talking about this on Enough to Keep Going this Sunday. Like it's kind of 2/3 of my wheelhouse, right? Because it's a tactical RPG, which I do like, and I like the Fire Emblem series and things like that. And it has the relationship building pieces in it, which I also like from the Fire Emblem series and other types of games. I just it's just tough for me to stick with the kind of really exhaustive and extensive dialogue that goes on in those things, and it's still a little kind of weird with it being about high school students, and there being all kinds of lines in there about like hot chicks and all the romance options and things in there. But it's good exposure to that type of content. The Persona series is obviously a significant piece of creative content on the market, so I'm glad that I'm kind of making sure that I've put it in my windshield, and I'm spending some time with it.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. It's cool you're trying it out too, and it's one of the games I said when we had our we actually recorded a video yesterday that's up on the channel now, and one of the things I said about Game Pass and one of my complaints about the I would say the more fanatical side of the Xbox community, they do more talking about mergers and acquisitions and firing of Lena Khan. Than actually playing and trying out some of these great additions. I mean, Phil Spencer's done a great job adding some of these games like Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, Persona 5, Dragon Quest 11. I mean, these are huge gets for that platform. I just don't see a lot of people talking about these games. Hopefully they're playing them. Hopefully they're playing them, because if
I'm not
what's
playing them.
Yeah,
That's a secret. I'm not playing them.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not playing them, look, they're going to look at the engagement numbers. They're going to be like, we're not going to invest money in things people aren't going to use, and that would be a damn shame to the service.
Yeah, it's
it would. As much as you see people screaming about them on Twitter, like, "Oh, we want Japanese games on Xbox. We want these games. There's no reason why Sony should have all the Japanese games." Yada 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 yada. You go take a look at anybody playing Xbox. You might see one or two people playing those games. As much as people scream about them, talk all this nonsense, nobody's putting gameplay up on Twitter. You don't see anybody. When Octopath Traveler came out on Game Pass, you saw it for one day. 2 days later, nowhere to be found. Nobody talking about it.
That's why it's not back on the platform now, the sequel.
Right. When all the Yakuza games dropped on there, you saw it for one day. 2 days max. After that, nowhere to be found on Twitter. Nobody's posting gameplay. Nobody, you get on there, you're still popping all these rare achievements. You know what I mean? Nobody's playing those games. They do it for clout chasing, especially on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, the average gamer, like Xbox gamer, when they go into a GameSpot or GameStop or Best Buy, Target, wherever they buy their video games from, if it's not on the actual platform, most of those gamers aren't asking for those games. And that's just the truth. You know what I mean? Like, they're not asking for those games. And if they aren't subscribed to Game Pass, they don't see those games anyway. You know what I mean? Like, at least while they're in Game Pass, they're kind of filtered to the top. You know what I mean? You see new stuff that comes in there, as they add it, every couple weeks or whatever the case may be. So, like you see something that you never saw before, you take a look, you see what the description of the game is, you click download, you check it out. If you're not in Game Pass, what is your engagement with that game? Little or none. Its chances are that's not a game that you're interested in. You play the games that you like, and that's about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to my point last night, it's like, these are graded. Like Nino Kuni 2 is just dropped in Game Pass Tubi money. That's another great addition.
Oh, yeah. I love that game. Remember when that game first came out on PlayStation?
I remember.
All you guys, like, go play this game. This game is crazy. Like, it's way different from the first game. Like, they made it more action oriented. The story's crazy. Like, it was a really good game. You know what I mean? Like, that game actually brought on, like, the new versions of Tales, the new, like, the more action oriented JRPGs that we see now. You know what I mean? Because it was a turn based game. It was more on the lines of like a Pokemon originally, or like a Persona, you know what I mean, where it's turn based, and you have all these other characters with you, and you kind of going back and forth. But the second game is totally different, you know what I mean. And I was ranting and raving about that game. Love that game.
I
Great
remember.
characters, great art design, you know what I mean. Like, the first game was like a Studio Ghibli art style, and then they kind of kept the same art style, but it wasn't really associated with Studio Ghibli. But the game was fucking amazing, man. And people, like, when I see people crying about stuff like that on Twitter, and then I go to check to see if they're playing any of these kind of games, and they're not, like, it's all for clout, man.
Yeah. No, I hear you, and that's kind of what that was kind of my point too. Yesterday with the video that we put out yesterday. So I just, like, these are really great additions. I know people. One particular person who listens to the show thinks that we are slanted against Xbox, but look,
Nobody is slanted against Xbox. Nobody's slanted against any platform. We just want great games.
Exactly what it is.
As a gamer, that's all you show up for, is the games. Like, it's cool when you got great features, and dashboard is nice, and you can do all this customization and all that. At the end of the day, what we want is to put a game in there, or click on a square or tab. Play great games. That's all we want at the end of the day as gamers, regardless of what platform it is. If you're not providing games, you're going to be criticized for it. That's the bottom line. When people criticize Sony all the time, like, yo, they're not talking, they're not saying nothing. What's going on? They haven't said nothing for a year and a half. None of that shit will matter when the games come. We talked about Xbox for years. Like, yo, where are the games? That's all people care about. At the end of the day, we just want great games. There's no slant against Xbox and no slant against Nintendo, PlayStation.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you are a gamer, you want quality content. We all invested $500+ in these consoles.
We
buying $70 controllers. We buying $100 headsets. You know what I mean? Like, we paying for all these services. You want great content. That's it. At the end of the day, all the other stuff don't matter. Like, you can go back and forth on Twitter, or go back and forth in all your little forums and all that other nonsense. If everybody's delivering great games, that's all that matters.
That's the bottom line. Like Sam Walton said. That's it. That well said, B. That's exactly it. But like I was saying, go ahead, Game Logic.
Well, I posted my gameplay clip of Persona 3 Portable that I just posted, which is the second clip. I put that in the chat. Just to show that I'm not one of those people B is talking about. Jason Ames says, there's no denying Game Pass incentivizes people to try games, but given the options, they're sure to drop them if they don't hook them immediately. JRPGs are great, but they all have slow starts, and I don't disagree, James. I mean, the I but I think the point of hypocrisy, and I'm sure BRAP covered this earlier in the show, right? But you have things like, again, people, torches and pitchforks, rallying the mob about the senators going after the Japanese FTC. I'm like, don't do that, but then not play the JRPGs when they are available on the platform. And the struggle is, and maybe I still have to find, my tribe, but the struggle is on Twitter when I want, and I try and like people's gameplay videos and try and retweet them. But when I'm trying to find Xbox people who are playing like the same game that I'm playing in Game Pass, and it's not, and it's hard. Like I manually search for them. Right, and I haven't. I've found like maybe one person who was playing a Persona title, and so that's part of the problem, right? All of this rabble rousing and noise that there's been about wanting JRPGs on the platform, and now here we get drops of the entire Persona series, the entire catalog on Game Pass, and it's very tough to tell if anybody's actually consuming it.
Yeah, no, it really is, and that's why I brought up Dragon Quest XI when that came out. I didn't see any chatter around it. It was disappointing. Really one of the better JRPGs that have released that within that time period, the last year. So, but I'm not seeing. Again, I think the point is, like B Money said, we want the best games. I mean, like I spent $500 on an Xbox Series X, and Microsoft said, hey, this is the most powerful console in the world. I want to see games that speak to that, and when I don't get those games, I'm going to be critical of it. I'm not gonna go on an Xbox centric podcast. Not all Xbox centric podcasts do this, but many of the more hardcore, if you will, go in here and it's a big back rub. And Xbox is great, and PlayStation sucks, and Xbox is great, and Nina Khan should be fired, and she's wasting taxpayers' money. None of it's talking about video games. We're talking about Persona 3 Portable, or that Ni no Kuni 2 is in the Game Pass. And let's talk about those games that they're trying out in Game Pass. So anyhow, that's my mini rant.
I'll continue to carry the flag to try and be the example.
Yeah, but no, I did start playing Persona 4 Golden, and that's kind of like what I played. Persona 5 is still my favorite of the Persona games. I played a little bit of Golden when it first came out, but playing it, I mean, Persona 5 is just wow. Persona 5 is one of those games.
Persona 5 is crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Like it multiplied how great Golden was by like 100.
It did. It absolutely did.
So amazing.
I mean, there were times where I would just listen to the intro music on the title screen.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't even start the game.
Crazy.
What's that?
I said the OST on there is crazy. The soundtrack is crazy.
The soundtrack is so good.
Yeah.
I think the character dialogue is the best of what I've played of the Persona games in 5.
It just gets me excited knowing that they're working on 6.
Me too.
What 6 is gonna hold? You know what I mean? Because like, just the storylines in 5 were like, yo,
they were good, bro.
What's going on here, man?
Oh yes,
why are high schoolers dealing with this?
yes, exactly. Like these real, some serious real world stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's I don't want to give anything away, but there's something that happens in that game that just blows my mind, and I'm like, what? I didn't even see that coming. Like it's so good. It's so good. Yeah. And I gotta say, Morgana is one of my favorite characters in a video game. Yeah. And I felt for Morgana a little bit. I connected with her as a character, her kind of plight and trying to figure out, who she is, and I don't want to give away too much, but you know what I mean?
Right.
Well,
man.
the cool thing is about, again, going back to Game Pass, providing that incredibly high value for me and, help me keep my kids safe and put food on the table. It's, I mean, the great thing is, like, again, I'm playing Persona 3 Portable. I would have probably never touched the game. I mean, same thing for like Crusader Kings 3, last year when I started playing that, which I still play. That strategy game, by Paradox. I would have probably never touched it. It was always one of those things that I'm like, oh, that looks super interesting, right? But I never made time for it. But the exciting thing about the Persona series for me, coming in on Persona 3 Portable is now I've snacked enough on it to generate enough interest in the other Persona titles that provide even more content and even a larger story arc. That I'll definitely be, dipping my toe into after this. So I'm pretty excited about, going down that path and, onboarding into a new franchise that otherwise I probably would have just, continued to pass by.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, God, someone said Persona 6. I can't wait. I can't wait. But those are great. Those are big gets. And that's cool that you're trying these games, Game Launch, because that's kind of like what I think, like you said, the benefit of Game Pass is it gives you the opportunity to try games that you may not try. You may be like, you know what, I'm not going to spend money on a game I have no interest in. But if it's there, it's part of a service, you may be more inclined to do that. It sounds like that's what you did, and that's just great. I think that's the great value proposition that Game Pass potentially offers. So.
Yeah, and I have certain thumb rules about if I stick with a game long enough in Game Pass, I will go ahead and buy it. So Atlas is likely to get another sale out of me for that.
The Atlas gods.
I'm trying to support the ecosystem.
13 Sentinel's another game. Game Logic you may want to check out.
Isn't that is that a smaller like indie title?
No, that's
in terms of scale.
Yeah, it's more. Yeah, it's a smaller. Yeah. 13 Sentinel. What is it? 13 Sentinel Aegis Rim or something. I think I call it 13 Sentinels. Yeah, it's by Atlas, but yeah, it's smaller in scope. It's more. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll probably check that out.
Yeah, that was that had a good story. No, actually, it wasn't made. It was published by Atlas. It was developed by Vanillaware. I'm sorry,
yeah, that's
I got
a
that.
Vanillaware game.
Yeah, it's a Vanillaware game. Yeah, I messed that up. Yeah, it's an RTS game. It's a side. It actually the cool thing about that game, it goes back and forth between being an RTS and a side-scrolling like action adventure game.
Yeah, I mean, Persona 3 Portable also has this weird kind of action RPG sequences in between, like the tactical RPG sequences. I mean, the ARPG's parts aren't anything like super complex, but they do give you options to like get into your item menu and kind of mix up your equipment and apply certain kind of spells and items and stuff to your party. So provides just a slightly additionally interesting kind of vector to the game design. You should also mention that these are, I don't know what you want to call them. I guess remasters. So they've been graphically updated. They are XS series titles, right beyond their original format. Did the PlayStation 5 also get those updates at the beginning of this year?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
I think they just received the PlayStation 4 versions of the game.
Okay.
I don't think they had the additional updates.
Wait, do you mean that Microsoft made some illegal deal to get better content?
Oh, man.
Yes, they did, sir. Yes, they did.
You are being messy, Game Logic.
Hey, we better get the Japanese FTC to check in on that.
People have lost their damn minds, man. I've never seen people focus on so much shit that's non-gaming and claim to be gamers. It's yeah. Oh my goodness, it's trivial. But yeah, that might be a game you may want to try out at some point, Hamp. 13 Sentinel, Vanillaware. I don't know if you played it. Try. What are some of the other? There's some other games. Hold on a sec here. What other games has Vanillaware made? Odin Sphere, that was in PlayStation 2.
Yeah, they re-released Odin Sphere.
Did they?
Odin Sphere, and isn't Dragon's Crown in their game too?
Yes, Dragon's Crown. I can't even talk. Dragon's Crown is one of their games. That came out on Vita, I think, or was it PS3? I don't remember.
Yeah, that was a PS3 game. They remastered it again. It's on PlayStation 4 and 5.
Okay, I got
yeah, that's a really good game too.
Yeah,
like Dragon's Crown.
Yeah, there's a lot of great. There's a lot of, I should say great because I haven't played them, but there's a lot of, I don't want to say obscure JRPGs in PlayStation Plus, but there's quite a few titles in there from games that I haven't seen or played or that I haven't played and wasn't familiar with until seeing them on PlayStation Plus. One of the other is the Steel series. Is that on Xbox yet, or is that still mostly only on PlayStation right now?
That's only on PlayStation. You talking about the Legend of Heroes?
Yeah, Legend of Heroes, Trails of whatever it's called.
Yeah, Trails of Cold Steel.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, all their games are still on only on PlayStation.
Yeah. I think I played 2 or 3. I forget which one I played. But yeah. Anyhow, good stories. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I would say if Xbox can get those games in Game Pass, I would say try those games too. You know, even if you don't like JRPG, look, my point is, if you don't like JRPGs, just you subscribe to the service, just try them out. You know, you might like it. I mean, why not? Isn't that the purpose of a buffet? You know, you get to dip your fingers in the mashed potatoes and see if you like them. You know?
Yeah, and all JRPGs aren't made the same. You know what I mean?
No.
Some are more action oriented, like Scarlet Nexus, and the new Tales of Arise, and you have the more turn-based games like Persona.
Hey, B-Money, that Tales game was. I got to go back and finish playing that. It was good.
Yeah, Tales of Arise is really good. So I'm so glad they did what they did as far as updating the actual gameplay of the game.
Oh my god, it was so fluid, and those combos and everything. Oof.
Yeah. So I mean, there's different flavors of JRPG that aren't all one and the same. So I'm sure people who don't like them, I'm sure you could probably find something that will catch your interest. Because all of them aren't the exact same. You might really love Persona and then hate Tales of Arise or Scarlet Nexus or something like that, or vice versa. You know what I mean? Or you might find a JRPG that's more like a CRT game, or more along those lines, and you might like that style of game as well. So it just depends. You know what I mean? I'm sure you can find something that you like.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Game Logic, this question's for you, man.
Yeah.
James the name says, if the FTC kills time exclusivity for third-party games, that gamers benefit. What say you, sir?
No. I was just about to say, look, Jason Ames, I don't know who you are or where you are, but I'm going to send you a freaking comfort soup care package or something. I may buy you an Xbox, because his next statement just blows things out of the water. I asked him, how do you do that? He came back and said, they can't, because it'd open up a can of worms, because console manufacturers are also in the business of publishing games. A man can dream, though. I'm literally getting choked up. Because that is the rationality that I never see from anyone, particularly if you mention that towards an Xbox fan, because they feel like it's an attack, because they have Stockholm syndrome, because they assume that the expression of any piece of information or anything that doesn't serve their narrative is an attack. That is one of the most, it's the same thing that I've said, right? The problem is that, number one, they're also publishers, right? So when we talk about the ATVI deal, one of my issues is that Microsoft is also a publisher. You can't just say that it's a platform owner buying another publisher. Microsoft is also a publisher, and there are therefore different optics on that. But one of the things about this whole thing about the Japanese FTC and us going down the path of, oh, well, we should stop Sony from making exclusive deals, I ask, what is the end game? Follow that all the way through. Walk me through it. But when you start walking down the line, you start looking at, okay, we're now saying third-party publisher exclusives are bad. Those shouldn't be allowed. Well, the only way that you can remand a behavior in an industry that has been going on for 40 years is to overlay more regulation. Now you're being a proponent of greater government intervention, which is counter to the whole argument from that same group of people. Again, not all of them, a particular group of people, which runs counter to the argument that the FTC and the regulatory agencies should be staying out of gaming. But let's go back to the exclusives. Third-party exclusives bad. Okay, then that's okay, but then it's also then not fair and creates a competitive disadvantage to allow a corporation like Microsoft to skirt that rule and that regulatory regime by its ability to acquire more and more publishers. That needs to be constrained and now limited, because you can't have the publishers taking people off the table by acquiring them and thereby making it okay for them to have those exclusives because they're now first party. Again, the only way you can do that is with increased government regulation. Then that ultimately culminates in a point where, quite frankly, I don't know that this is entirely bad, but it ultimately culminates in a point where you get to a point where, in order to make the industry work that way, you have to separate the platform owners from also being publishers. And so again, the tail of the tape here is think about the ultimate culmination of the things that fans are asking for when you totally unwind that tape and see where it lands you, and then understand what you are arguing for and being a proponent of. And I don't believe that everybody kind of thinks that through and walks that all the way through. So
they don't. Yeah.
Jason Ames, you have let me give you a get out of snark jail free card, and anything that you disagree with that I ever say on this podcast, and anything that you feel obliged to throw flame spray my way, I will overlook it from this point on.
Yeah, I didn't catch his follow up response there, but I don't disagree with him. That was one of the more well thought out responses that I've seen.
Well, on top of all that, he also successfully leaped this hurdle that I often have a problem with gamers, which is that it is impossible for them to allow the state of two things to exist, right? He admits that, hey, this is my desire and this is my dream, and it would be great if it worked that way. But he's able to separate that from the reality of how it would most likely unfold and what can practically be done. That's something I have a huge amount of respect for, because people don't do that. It's just like I said when we were talking about the PlayStation Portable. There are a lot of, or the rumored PlayStation 5 portable device, right? A ton of people running around saying, this is a miss. It should be able to play games on hardware. And I'm like, okay, walk me through it. Tell me what that looks like. And then understand what you're advocating for, which is counter to what you were just advocating for last week or cheerleading last week, right, in terms of the PlayStation 5 approach to SKUs versus the Microsoft approach to SKUs.
Yeah. Yeah, so look, again, gentlemen, I said this probably about a half hour ago. I ran through all the topics, probably go ahead and wrap up the show, get back to some RE4, and play some video games, right? So, but look, I want to thank everyone in the live chat for hanging out with us tonight. Really appreciate your time as always. Please do me a favor, hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Subscribe, hit the bell notification so you're alerted when we go live. Gentlemen, Game Logic, B Money, always a pleasure. B, let everyone know they can find you.
Hey, you can find me everywhere. Same name, B Money 101. That was a great show. If you're looking for me, come find me on Battlefield, because that's where I've been the last few weeks after the latest update. So, been playing a lot of Battlefield. So, if you're down to play, hit me up.
No doubt. And by the way, great conversation around JRPGs, though. I really enjoyed that, especially about Persona 5 in particular. So, and then Game Logic, let everyone know where they can find you if you want to be found.
Yeah, you can find me hanging out on Twitter. You can also find me on the Enough to Keep Going Weekly Games podcast on the E2KG Network podcasting channel on YouTube. And I apologize, Jason, at various points during that I may have called you James. That was not intentional. But your comment is much respected, and I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Ryan. Ryan says, great show, ponies. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. And then you can find me at BRAP_podcast on the Twitters, and I'll probably do a BRAP rant this week. So I may not drop another video the same day I'm doing a live show, though, because I think that messed up the algorithm here a little bit. But anyhow, it's another conversation. So thank you, YouTube. All right, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the week. Have fun playing video games, because that's what it's all about. And we'll catch you next time.